It's BrainWash with Dr. Tom and Guitar Picks with Eric Perrotti.
Eric Perrotti, 20 songs you've selected that have influenced you as a musician and guitarist. What do you have to say about them in general to start out with?
Yeah, a couple of nights ago when you called me, and it's only been a couple of nights that I had to work on this, and it really says a lot to me that you would say as a musician and guitarist, because originally you said 20 songs that most influence you as a guitarist. But I've always considered myself a musician first. But a musician plays the guitar. That's my main instrument. So these songs, how did I categorize them? I would ask myself, do I go for songs? Do I go for songs that are guitar-oriented? Do I go for the composers? Do I go for the artists? A lot of times, all of those categories fall in the same place. So, for example, the first song on my list here, which the list goes in no particular order, pretty much as I could spit them out to myself. And if I waited another 2 days, it could be almost an entirely different 20-song list, and I could have gone 20 songs in each genre, classical, blues, rock, whatever. So I had to include as many differences that I felt. So the first song, While My Guitar Gently Weeps by George Harrison, for example, performed by the Beatles. All of that is influential. The song, the composer, and the performers. You know, for example, maybe the song that I have here a little later on the list, Blue Skies by Irving Berlin, performed by Les Paul. I think it's the fact that Les Paul played that particular recording that it influenced me to actually seek it out more so as a song and do an arrangement on, yes, the ukulele. But if that gives you some insight as to how I came up with this list or what it meant to me to follow through with that question, songs that influenced me as a musician / guitarist.
I guess as far as more specifically about the first one on the list, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, what about it?
Yeah, that's a good question because I covered a few categories with that selection. One is, it's really not my favorite Beatles song. I think it's a great song, though, as songs go, because it was actually written in the 50s when George Harrison was probably 15, 14 maybe years old. And to look at it from a lyrical perspective, when everybody was singing things like, biddy bop, he's saying stuff like, I look at the world and I notice it's turning while my guitar gently weeps. And he's only a kid when he's writing this. And the chord progression is something like... when everybody else is doing nothing wrong. I love this, and he loved it too. But that to me is very important about that song. And aside from the fact that it was the Beatles and a George Harrison composition, Eric Clapton played the lead solo on it, which is, again, I didn't put any Clapton songs on here, but I feel as though I did include him because he was probably my first guitar influence, just because I understood this guy's good, It was, and yet he's not my favorite anymore. But he was the first person I can remember calling a favorite. So he's on that song, so there you go. I really like the verse the most, and I don't really know it anymore, but I can kind of give you an idea of what I was doing right there. I look at the world and I notice it's turning while my guitar gently weeps. I think that's real interesting to come out of the late 1950s. So I like the solo is not even the most important aspect to me of that song. I really like the verse. I like it lyrically. I like what it does chordally. The bass notes dropping like that in a minor dark key. And I think in an odd way he was trying to be philosophical, and maybe he got that point across.